Today, we're going to talk about writing skills. You might remember that at the end of a sentence, we must always use a full stop or a period. However, sometimes we connect a few different ideas in a sentence, and it doesn't make sense to use a full stop after every one. So when we want to connect related ideas within the same sentence, we use something called a comma. There are several different rules for using commas, and we're going to go through them together. Here's a short text that I wrote about when my best friend Stuart came to visit me here in Madrid. Let's go through it sentence by sentence and talk about the different rules for using commas. Last year, my best friend Stuart came to visit me in Madrid. In this first sentence, we need a comma after last year. This is because last year is the opening phrase of the sentence, and my best friend Stuart is the main clause. So when we have an opening phrase like last year or last summer before the main idea of the sentence, between the opening phrase and the main clause, we must use a comma. Next sentence. He's a tall, handsome guy with brown hair. One of the other rules for commas is that we must use a comma to separate two or more adjectives. Tall and handsome are both adjectives, so here we need to put a comma. Nowadays, he lives in Santiago, Chile, but he had a few weeks of holidays. This next sentence is a little bit crazy because we actually need to put 3 different commas for 3 different reasons. Okay, nowadays is an opening phrase, and he lives in Santiago is the main phrase. So between the two, we need a comma. The second comma comes because when we write the city and country where something is located, for example, Santiago in Chile, we need a comma between the city, Santiago, and the country, Chile. It would be the same thing if I said Paris, France, for example. I would put a comma between Paris, the city, and France, the country. Next, we must use a comma whenever we have connecting words like so, but, and. Here, in this sentence, there's a but. So before the word, we need a comma. Next sentence. During his time in Madrid, we visited its Central Park, the principal train station, and the Modern Art Museum. All right, here's another opening phrase. Comma. And here we have a list with 3 different places that we visited in Madrid. Another rule for commas is when you want to separate 3 or more words or ideas in a list, you must use a comma. First idea, Central Park, comma after the word park. The principal train station, we need a comma here. And we're done. Now, let's go to the next sentence. All right, in this sentence, you might say, Grayson, we need a comma. Here's the connector and in the middle of the sentence. And it is true that I said before, we must use a comma after a clause and before connectors like so, but, and, or, etc. But this is an exception. Listen carefully. When we have a sentence with only 2 ideas and we use the connector and, we actually don't need a comma. It's the only exception to this rule. I actually changed the final sentence so you can see what I mean. It says, we had a great time, so I bought tickets to visit him in Chile next Christmas. In this case, there is no exception to the rule. So is a connector. So, after the main clause, we had a great time, you must put a comma before the word so. Now you're going to practice what you learned about commas in the next exercise. You're going to read this text and then write the commas in the correct place. Good luck!